Hello, everybody. Hello, YouTube. Hello, art history enthusiasts and visual culture aficionados. It's me again, Miss M, and I'm back with yet another video. Today, what are we gonna do today? Today, we're gonna have coffee. Okay? We, we're gonna have a cup of coffee together. Uh, we're gonna have a coffee break today, and it's a viewer mail edition. So, Heloskis, I'm gonna read some of your all of your comments under two specific videos. The videos having to do with my latest ramblings regarding The Shining and the Manhattan Project thing. So, now that you know, now that you know where you are and what's going on, go ahead and fire up the percolator. Fire up the percolator or order your usual at your favorite coffee place and have the person deliver it. That just sounds like the life, doesn't it? Doesn't it? If you, oh my goodness, I wish I had that kind of money. I wish I had Uber Eats, Postmates, money. So like whenever I feel like eating something, I don't even have to open the refrigerator. I just get on my phone, order something from wherever, and just wait for it to show up at my front door. Wouldn't that be marvelous? I've done that like once in my life. And it was all right, but you can't do that every day. Not if you're somebody like me with limited funds. But that sounds like quite a nice leisurely life, doesn't it? But unfortunately, most of us have to work and we have to try to get stuff on sale at the grocery store. And if I have Starbucks, it's maybe once a week. Yes, I'm that kind of girl. I'm like, what's her face on that show, Weeds? She just had to have her latte, and I'm like, I usually make them at home now, so I'm gonna have some coffee with you. I sure am. Um, but mine's from the percolator. Mine is not from delivery service. So you guys get your cuppa, get your cookies, get your muffin, get your donut, get your whatever, marble cake, whatever you're into, and just chill. And we're gonna have a cute little one-sided conversation. Okay, and we're gonna talk about oh my God, the fucking atomic bomb. Okay, this is this is serious. Okay. But anyway, so you guys, before I get started with anything, let me go ahead and do my church announcements. And I think I'm going to shout somebody out if I don't forget. It's going to be Richard, Mr. Tankard. Once again, he's got another video, and I haven't watched it yet because I had some stuff to do today, and I just saw it like maybe a couple minutes ago or whatever. But I'm sure gonna watch it when I'm done with this, and I think you all need to do it too. But anyway, returning viewers, thank you for returning. New viewers, thank you for being new. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. All 759 of you. We are slowly but surely getting closer and closer to 1,000. Oh, I hope it's worth it. I hope it's not a big nothing when I finally get there, and it's going to be a huge disappointment and they pay you like, a quarter of a cent per view or something. Oh, good Lord. But wouldn't that just be what they do? Oof. We'll see. I'll let you know when it happens. But if there are any people out there who want me to sponsor their art supplies, especially Blick, or hey, if you're a coffee company, like what did Rose say in the Golden Girls? I'm your chicken. Okay, go ahead. But but anyway, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share if you enjoy any of this, and you know somebody who might also enjoy it. Don't hesitate to let them know about it. I try and post my videos on Reddit, on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Not much is coming from there. So I don't know how these big channels do it. I don't know how anybody could ever get to 7 million viewers or subscribers. It's a mystery to me. All right, I think that would be harder to solve than the pyramids all over planet Earth or Atlantis or any of that stuff. But That's just me. Here I am trying to solve The Shining. I can't even get that done. Okay, forget about like, trying to figure out how to get monetized and how to have this be like a cute little side hustle that could pay my gas money and my my Starbucks money. No. No, y'all. I think most of you who are my regulars, you know that I'm here in Southern California, Los Angeles, and it is now the first week of September has passed. I'm making this video Thursday night, September 7th. Um, it's warm, but not boiling. Okay, it might be boiling in the next couple of days. It's going to be over 80 degrees or so over the weekend. I'm not looking forward to it. I can't wait for that nice crisp air. We don't get that. Not. This is what they call Indian summer. What we've got going on right now. June and July, I still need a blanket. June and July, it's still blanket weather. August, that's when it starts to boil. All right. August through September, sometimes even a little bit of October. We've had some muggy Halloweens down here, let me tell you. But we've all, down here in Los Angeles, all the Halloween stuff is already out. It was out like before September 1st, if you want to know. All the orange colored everything, pumpkin spice, everything already on the shelves. Already on the shelves. They are not messing around. They're not playing. All right. So I even got a friend like a birthday card, but instead of like a birthday card, I just got her like a cute little card. And if you're listening, hey Reina, I got her a little haunted house card. Wonderful person. Um, and I know a lot of Virgos. It's weird. But but you guys, we're here and I'm rambling and that's okay because we're having coffee. And that's what you do when you have coffee. You just talk and talk and talk about whatever. But let me get back to the matter at hand. I'm gonna do this is a viewer mail episode of the coffee break with Miss M. So hopefully by now I'm talking and talking to give you time to get your coffee together. Um, and um, you know, I did a couple of videos recently, namely, this is the first one I did, film analysis, Oppenheimer, The Summer of 42, and The Shining, and then I did a prehistoric art video that got a moderate number of views. I'm actually surprised at this number, 156. But then after that, I did the follow-up to Summer of 42, Coffee Break, Is The Shining Really About ... the caretaker? And in order to understand, if you're new here, you're going to have to watch both of these videos to understand what the hell it is that I'm talking about. I know my videos are long. Okay, I've gotten that criticism before. Yeah, my videos are long because they're not for everybody. Okay, if you're serious about learning, not just about The Shining, but about all kinds of things, because The Shining is the gateway to knowledge, don't you know? Then you'll be willing to sit through 1.5, maybe even 2 hours of me talking, because I take you places. Okay, I take you places mentally, and I'm not the master of anything. I'm not the expert on anything. Oh, good heavens, no. I'm just trying to figure this out too. And I know a lot of other people out there are trying to figure out Stanley Kubrick movies. And not just Stanley Kubrick movies. Again, they take you on so many different journeys as far as learning about. I mean, look at me. I never expected this, but here I am reading about organic chemistry. Okay, and what's his face? Oppenheimer and Leslie Groves and Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Harry Truman and oh, trust and believe. I'm learning about everything but filmmaking. Stanley did it. He really did it, and he did it like nobody else could. So check those videos out if you haven't already. If you're a Kubrickologist, you might enjoy them. I think I'm going to have to make, and again, Richard gives the best advice. He said, Miss Sam, what you need to do is make a condensed video for people who are not willing to sit through 2 hours, and just summarize the key points of your research or your theories. And you know what? Richard is right. He is. He has very good ideas, and I value his his input very, very much. Him and Gershom also has the best advice and the best ideas. Really, really smart guy. And I've got a couple of you all that I actually do DM with, Richard, Tankard of Tales, Gershom, and also I don't DM with him, but he also has wonderful insight. Richland Law. So uh, I think I'm going to have to do that summary video. And I've been talking for what, 10.5 minutes? Still ain't got to the videos and the viewer mail. So let's go over there, shall we? And I also said I'm going to shout somebody out. That's going to be Richard again, Tankard of Tales. It says here 8 hours ago on my screen. Of course, it popped up down here, and I've already put it on my watch later list. A book review in parentheses with a slight spoiler. I th- it in you know the Oh, Richard, this is an amazing thumbnail that you've got here. It's the Lolita book with all of his post-it note tabs and whatever sticking out of it, and it's on. The background is the hexagonal shining room 237 hallway carpet, which is very, very poignant and it makes a lot of sense because I do believe that, and I think Tancred agrees with me. Lolita was like the precursor to The Shining in many ways. But let me get into it. So yeah, go ahead, go over there to Tancred of Tales and watch this. It's only 13 minutes long. He makes, he's much better at this than I am in many regards. He makes nice short videos as opposed to me. I make these long monster videos. So I got to get better at that. But anyway, go over there and look at it. I haven't watched it yet, but I sure will. And I know he's gonna come up with some good stuff. So go over there and check it out. Now here we are. I'm gonna do both of these: the Oppenheimer Summer of '42 and The Shining video, and the coffee break is The Shining really about ... the caretaker. Now, you guys, here's actually here's Danny with the 42 on his shirt. Okay, that's I'll just leave that there. Now I sorted these by newest first, so let me go down here and start from the beginning. Here's Gershom with the obligatory diamonds. Thank you, Gershom. I appreciate them every time. And so that's that. I don't have much to say about that. He always shows support that way, which is wonderful. Here's Tankard, Richard. He says, "Great video. I downloaded Dr. Strangelove. There is a few you can download, which is important. I'm making screenshots." Ooh, that sounds interesting. I need to DM you, Richard, about some stuff with regard to Dr. Strangelove, and that connects to the Manhattan Project stuff that I've been working on. Expect a DM from me, if not tonight, then maybe tomorrow. It's been years when I saw Dr. Strangelove, maybe closer to 35 years, maybe longer. I don't remember wanting. Oh, watching the movie in the 1990s and not in the 2000s, even after I was married. So I think I saw the movie back in the 1980s when I was a young teen, most likely on TV. So this might be my first viewing. Oh gosh. You know what? I'm going to have to. I have them all on DVD. I'm going to have to bust out my little DVD player and watch Doctor Strangelove because that's important. It might help me further solve the Manhattan Project atomic bomb thing. We shall see. And I think I already told you in these videos how I got to my conclusion that one of the story, maybe not the only story, but one of the stories that Stanley is telling in The Shining is about the Manhattan Project and the development of the atomic bomb with regard to Oppenheimer and Leslie Groves and all of these different players and situations. I was trying to figure out the summer of 42 and the number 42 in The Shining. And I said, what happened in the summer of 42? And I just started poking around on Google. I started keyword searching stuff. And I said, maybe it has to do with World War II. Maybe something happened during World War II in the year 1942 that Stanley wants us to concentrate on. And sure enough, I poked around and found that the Manhattan Project's official start date was August of 1942. Am I correct? Is that just a coincidence? I don't know, but I can't ignore it. I can't dismiss it. So here we are now, two videos later. Here goes Tancred again. I covered a good portion of the TV in my first Shining Inspirations video by comparing to Persona 1966, and I do believe that that probably still has something to do with it. Even though I believe it's the Manhattan Project, I still think Stanley is citing or referencing other movies, and why he's doing that, that's left to be explored. We need to like think about that, talk about that, turn it over in our heads. But yeah, I still think Persona 1966 is still in play. Other things I talked about, VHS beta was new technology, and they could have a box on the TV. A cable TV box was also possible. Then again, they need a box on the TV. The reception on the TV set is impossible, especially with those high winds. And he's talking about, which is what, he's the one, Tankard is the one who told me, because he's from up north. He knows snow. I don't. And I was like, is it even possible for, the TV to be on because it's not plugged in? And Richard was the one who said, forget about whether or not it's plugged in. They're in the middle of a blizzard. Okay, there's no way they're good. And the TV does not have rabbit ears. So there's no way they're going to get a picture that good in that kind of weather and those kind of conditions. Like he says here with those high winds and everything. And I didn't think of that because I'm from Los Angeles. We don't have to worry about that. We really don't. But he's right. He knows snow. Um, with with a blizzard like that, with winds like that, winds and the blizzard and the whole thing that already took out the telephone lines. That's why she was using the radio in Halloran's office. So there's a good chance that it took out the antenna too. So thank you again, Richard, for that. And there's another comment, LOL. I'll be watching Strangelove soon. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that. And I can't wait to watch it myself so we can compare notes. Here comes Gershom again. Hi, Gershom. Sellers was supposed to play 4 characters. Oh, but he faked he faked an ankle injury to get out of it. I read something. I didn't know that he did that to get out of it, but I did read something where he was like, "Yeah, no, this is just too much." He was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with acting and doing my job, but like 4 characters? Oh, good heavens, no." So, like, yeah, no. Again, I didn't know that these studios were that freaking cheap. I didn't know that. I'm not a movie person. I'm not an entertainment industry I'm not in show business. I don't know. Um, and now with the strike that's going on, I didn't, I don't know all the facts, so don't come for me. But they dug up the sidewalk. So these protesters, the actors and writers and all these people, like, so they wouldn't have a nice flat area to march up and down with their signs. I mean, come on, that's diabolical. And also they cut down all the trees so they would be out in the sun roasting in our wonderful Indian summer weather down here in LA. Like, that's terrible. And if they're willing to do that because, you know, um the people who are protesting and striking with the 2 different unions, I think it's, from what I read like one article in the LA Times. That's all I know. It's the actors, the SAG union, and the writers union. Like, they're both striking and protesting. Um, And I read some of their stuff. Again, I don't know probably what I don't know, but it seems like they do have legitimate concerns. And these people, these studios, they're just cheaping out on everything. They want to use people's images and likeness without paying them. That's not okay. That's not okay. And I mean, in my own area where my job that I work, Yeah, I'm the member of a union. I'm a member of a union. And again, these companies and these organizations, even organizations that you would expect to know better and to do better, no, they don't want to pay. That's why they have so many part-time workers, because they don't want to pay health insurance. That, that's terrible. Whew. And they take advantage of people. They take advantage of their time, their effort, their energy. The fact that they've spent, in some cases, years and years in school, um, learning to do what they do, and they just cheap out over and over again. They don't want to help people. They don't want to pay a fair wage. They don't want to compensate people. And this is Los Angeles. Please don't forget, this is Los Angeles. And just to get to your job, you could very easily spend an hour one way, one way just to get to your job, and then an hour to get back home. Rush hour traffic, gasoline is expensive, and whatever they pay you, you're going to be spending a bunch of that on gasoline. Forget about rent and food and everything. Good Lord. Good Lord. But let me get off that soapbox. Um, but yeah, your comment, Gershom, reminds me, like Stanley had to put up with a lot of shit. He had to put up with, and I haven't even get started. Excuse me, I haven't even gotten started on talking about his Napoleon project, because I don't know where to approach it from first, what angle to approach it from first. Napoleon was where they really, really, you're gonna have to pardon my French, but they really, really screwed him with the Napoleon project. He should have done that movie. He should have done that movie, but the studio was not willing to pay for what he needed in order to make what probably would have been a masterpiece. Um, and it's just so sad. They were penny pinching all the way back then too. Um, anyway, thank you again, Gershom. Here is the silly Sagittarius. Hello, silly Sagittarius. Um, have you thought about doing a painting tutorial? Those get sponsored and lots of views. I've seen a couple of them. They're interesting. Like you could paint and talk in detail about it as you go. I don't even know how I would set the camera up. I mean, I would have to learn a whole new set of skills to do, to do a video like that. I mean, I don't even edit these videos. I love your suggestions, silly Sagittarius, but like, I don't even how would I do that with a GoPro? I I have no clue. I'm sure I could learn it. I've learned other things, but my goodness. And then silly Sagittarius, their second comment is, oh, and you could sell it or print stickers, mugs, whatever with the art on it. Just a couple of ideas. Oh, thank you so much, silly Sagittarius. I appreciate your ideas so much. Um, that does sound fun. I mean, I'm not an artist, but I do know how to draw and paint. I buy for somebody else. Somebody in my life is an artist. So when I do go to Blick and I buy several $100s worth of art supplies, um, it's not for me. It's for somebody else. And I get the good stuff. I get the finest fine canvases and um, oil paint and stuff like that. So, but thank you so much for your suggestion. I will think about it. I will. I'll think about it. We'll see. We'll see if I end up doing it. But here's Gershom again. Ooh. He's got a lot to say. He says, I don't recall where, maybe Slack, but definitely with Dr. Luke. I said that maybe the Shining Mountain is the mountain Dr. Strangelove calls out as a base from which to, oh dear, I see what you did there. PC opulate, so repopulate, recopulate after the big boom. Yeah, okay. Um, you all know, I think I've mentioned it before, I am very well versed in the realm of conspiracy theories. I've heard them all. I've done extensive reading, extensive video watching. I'm one of those people. I don't necessarily believe all of them, no, but I'm aware of most of them, even some very obscure ones. So, what Gershom is talking about, or I think what he's maybe alluding to, is this movie is set in Colorado. And if you remember in the movie when Halloran is on his way to, from Florida, he's on his way to Colorado. Um, he takes a flight from, I think, Miami to, is it Denver? I think it's Denver. And then he travels to Stapleton Airport. Well, that's not the main airport anymore. Now it's a new one. It's the Illuminati airport in some other. I think it's also in Denver, but like it's a completely new airport and a completely new location, and all of the conspiracy literature and material that I read and watched about it, they were like, yeah, there was no reason at all to build a brand new airport with that's the airport with all of the like creepy murals and everything all over the place, and the big horse outside. I think he's like supposed to be one of the horses of the apocalypse, and I think he even like when he was being set up, he's so huge and so heavy, the horse sculpture, that it actually killed the sculptor because it fell on him. But oh yeah, no, maybe. And there was that episode of Jesse Ventura, and they went underground through all the tunnels, as many as they could go through anyway, and there's like miles and miles and miles of tunnels under um I think it's called Denver International Airport. Maybe that's what you're referring to, Gershom. I'm not going to try and put words in your mouth, but yeah, there's that. Who knows? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe Stanley was like, he knew some shit. Okay? He knew he he was very informed about all of this stuff, and I'm just wondering like where. And he's trying to let us know. He can't tell us. He can't. Because like they already made life difficult for him, and they wouldn't let him do the movies that he wanted to do, or they would just hand him, in my opinion, my theory, they would just hand him books to adapt into movies, and it seems to me that he didn't have very much to say about it, or they wouldn't let him. I mean, that's not okay. That's not okay. But, you know, these were his working conditions. This is what he had to deal with. And he maybe this is why they treated him that way, and maybe other directors got preferential treatment. I don't know. Just a thought, but thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. Here's your next comment. I reviewed the script. He says mineshaft, which mineshaft could be in a mountain or just a hole in the ground. Nevertheless, both are drilling the same load. Oh, good heavens. Um, you're gonna have to use your imagination to figure out, because again, this is PG-13. Um, anyway, he goes on. There is further meaning. Mineshaft sounds like mineshaft, German for community. What kind of community is Dr. Strangelove talking about? Spawning. I don't know. But I'm gonna have to look into that character. I'm gonna have to look into that character that Peter Sellers plays. Um, who is that supposed to be representing? Or specifically, who is Stanley trying to let us know he's talking about? Because there's some crazy people involved in all of that. So I trust and believe, Gershom. I'm going to be looking into it. Lately, I've been a little bit overworked, but definitely been thinking about this. I have little flashes of insight and ideas and whatever, sometimes when I least expect it. Sometimes I'll be washing my hair and I'll be like, oh shit, I need to look up this, that, or the other about whoever. Or I'll be, chopping onions or taking out the trash or or whatever, or working out. I've been working out. I'm still working out almost on a daily basis. And like I'll be working out and I'll be like, oh, so that was what Stanley meant by that. So we'll see. And then I take that little flash of insight or flash of inspiration and I get on my laptop and I start looking stuff up on the Google, So we'll see. Thank you once again, Gershom. I appreciate it so much. Here's hello, Anno Domini 1991. Very good to see your comments. Oppenheimer, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. Okay, yeah, that was his famous quote in that interview, black and white TV interview where he looks so sad. So sad. Okay. And then he says Oppenheimer was in the winning side, so is not considered a bad guy. That's interesting. That's an interesting thing to consider, because history. What do they say? History is written by the winners. Do we ever really get to see the perspective of the people who got conquered or got um, mistreated? I don't know. There was also, Anno says, there was also the fire bombs in Dresden, but it was done by the winners, so all of it is justified in their view. This is a very interesting comment, Anno, and I'm very glad you wrote it, because there are, World War II happened 80 years ago, a little over 80 years ago. So what, this is 2023. So if somebody was born in 1943, they would be turning 80 now. And World War II started, I guess the official start date, as far as I know, if I'm not mistaken, is 1939. So World War II started about 84 years ago. Okay, and this was a war that was fought in large part in the Western world, in Europe. Okay, yes, there was stuff going on in the East, in Japan, and what have you, but a lot of the carnage and the main players and whatever located directly in Europe. And it's been 84 years since the beginning, when I think the definitive moment when it began is when Hitler invaded Poland. Like Basil Fawlty says in that episode of Fawlty Towers, and I think the episode is called The Germans. I think it's even here on YouTube somewhere. Go ahead and look it up. Um, oh, yeah, it's a good episode. They don't make TV like that anymore. They just don't. They don't make like good, intelligent jokes like that anymore. At least I don't see it anymore. But the German guy says, "You started it," and Basil, he has a head injury and he's acting crazy. He says, "No, you started it. You invaded Poland." And it's a good episode. Check it out. Anyway, but it's been 84 years since Hitler invaded Poland in 1939. We still don't know what the hell all of that was about. I mean, we have an idea. Yes, we do. And so many people were abused and mistreated and murdered. Okay. So many millions and millions and millions of people died as a result of that armed conflict. Okay. There was, of course, what happened in the camps. You know what I'm talking about. And there's, of course, Japan. Yeah, all those thousands and thousands of people. So much death. So much unnecessary, senseless, evil, evil stuff going on. And we still don't really know why. We still don't really know why. They tell you in school, they tell you about this person, this situation, that event, whatever. Do they tell us why? Do they tell us why? Do they tell us why it was, war is never necessary, but do they tell us like what the kind of modus operandi was of the aggressors in that war? In my opinion, they don't. In my opinion, like our teachers in high school and college and whatever, they can't tell us because maybe they don't even know. And, or if they do know, like, historians with PhDs and what have you, maybe they do know, but they're not allowed to talk about it. I don't know. I cannot shake the feeling that we are not being told the full story. I really can't. Um, and when I have a feeling like that, I I'm not like 1,000 years old or anything, but as I get older, I've learned to not ignore that feeling. When I feel like I'm being lied to, when I feel like something isn't right about a situation or a person or a story I'm being told isn't making sense. When I was younger, I would ignore it and just defer to authority or just go along to get along to make life a little easier for myself. Now that I'm older, I'm like, you know what? No, maybe I'm not gonna uh, a stir, but I'm gonna not ignore it. I'm gonna keep it in mind, and when I have a little bit of free time, I'm gonna do a little bit of research and digging and thinking and whatever. Um, and that's what I'm doing. And Stanley is helping me. He's trying to anyway. He's trying to help all of us figure some stuff out, and he's trying to point us in the right direction. And he's, with the Summer of 42 thing, this movie came out in 1980. It is now 2023. 43 years later. I don't know if I'm the only one who made the connection between Summer of 42 and Manhattan Project. Like I said, I tried Googling it. I tried looking it up. Couldn't find anything. I've seen mentions of Manhattan Project and Stanley, but it is always to do with Dr. Strangelove, and it doesn't even talk about the stuff that I talked about or explore. And I'm not saying that I'm a pioneer or a trailblazer. No, no. There might be somebody out there who had a similar idea or whatever, but I haven't been able to find it. And if you think I'm wrong, cool. No problem. Just let me know. Let me know if I'm wrong, if you think I'm wrong, and don't just say that I'm wrong. Tell me how I'm wrong, because, you know, I'm pretty serious about this. I'm pretty serious about the way I do my work. So let me know. And I think I'm pretty okay at taking constructive criticism. But Anno, you don't comment a lot, but what you do write is very, very insightful. So thank you for that. We need to look into it. We need to look at World War II. Um, there are things that we're not being told. All those people died. Why? Why? I want to know. We have not yet, I don't believe that we have yet held those people accountable. Most of them are dead by now, I know, but their children, their grandchildren, and the governments that have continued on. And I keep telling, I told Gershom, and I think also Richard. Those are the two people that I communicate with the most often regarding this stuff. I said y'all need to watch Alfred Hitchcock's Saboteur. That movie, Hitchcock movie, was released, I think maybe even during the Second World War. I'll talk about it at another date in another video, but go ahead, find it. If you can find it, watch it all the way through. Hitchcock was a master, a genius, in the same kind of category as Stanley, and he was a genius for a reason. When you start watching this movie, Saboteur, it might even be from 1942. I have to check, but the title is enough. You'll be able to find it. When you start watching it, you won't be able to stop. And I'm the kind of person who I have a very short attention span. Like if I don't see a good reason to keep watching something, I just won't. No. But Hitchcock will keep you in your chair with your eyes glued to the screen until the very end of that movie. You won't even want to get up to go and pee. No matter how bad you have to pee, you're going to be like, no, I need to see what happens next in this movie, Saboteur. Check it out. Check it out, and I might do a video about it. And let me know what you think if you check it out. But once again, thank you, Anno. Thank you, Gershom. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it so much. Here's a comment from Carter Burton. 4375. Bob is also short for Robert. Yes. Robert Oppenheimer's name is Bob. Yes. Thank you, Carter Burton. I understand. And the reason Carter Burton is writing that is because I said in Twin Peaks, the Bob character, I think that it has something to do with the Born Oppenheimer breakdown. Um, And Carter is like, well, maybe I think this is what you're referring to, and maybe you're like, maybe it's not the Born Oppenheimer breakdown, maybe it's just Bob, like Bob Oppenheimer. Maybe, Carter, maybe. But the reason I said Born Oppenheimer breakdown rather than just Bob Oppenheimer is because one of Bob's Bob Bob from Twin Peaks, is one of his other aliases is Robert's son. So maybe David Lynch is telling us that Bob, capital B, capital O, capital B, Bob, is something that was created by the Bob Oppenheimer. He's the son of J. Robert Oppenheimer. And I've been reading. Thank you for your comment, Carter. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks to you, actually, Carter. I think I that prompted me to just go do a little bit of digging about Mr. Oppenheimer. And we all think we know everything we need to know about this man. No. I might do a separate video about this, blow the lid off of everything. But his full name is J. Robert Oppenheimer, and the J stands for Julius. And where does he get that name? From his father, Julius Oppenheimer. And I think they had different middle names. Like his father was Julius S. Oppenheimer, and the mad scientist was J. Robert Oppenheimer. But they're both Julius. And I think I read an interview or something, or an article where somebody asked him, Bob, Robert Oppenheimer, asked him, what does the J stand for? And he said nothing. So I don't know. Maybe he didn't really like his dad very much. I don't know. But thank you for that comment. You got me to thinking about stuff. I'm going to take a quick coffee break, and then I'm going to really dig into Richland Law's comment. He has always a lot of wonderful things to say. So I'm getting dry, so I need a sip of coffee. See you in a minute. Hold on. Okay, you guys, I'm back. Okay, now let me get into Richland Law's comment. It's a long one. That's why I need to address all 3 points. He's organized this beautifully. First one, cords to TV lamps. I personally don't feel moved that the filmmaker was using these to communicate something other than continuity. Would be really hard if you had to match the squiggles of cords all over the place. Good point. A decision was made to omit them. It is not really noticeable on viewing the movie in its original medium in a theater with popcorn. Possibly. We can't rule out that possibility now, can we? We cannot rule out that Stanley was doing things possibly just for convenience. Okay? So the issue is, how could we ever know for sure? That's the only issue. But I'm kind of with you on this. You never know. But there's also the issue of the antenna. Where is it? TVs back then, they needed an antenna. So and there's also the issue of the snowstorm, taking out the telephone lines. And if they took out the telephone lines, what else did they take out? Or maybe the TV was affected too. All things to consider. Okay, but I do see your point, Richland Law, and I will keep it in mind. Number 2, I can't relate to the films of Lynch. A lot of people can't. A lot of people have trouble with Lynch in a way that they don't have trouble with other filmmakers. David Lynch seems to be in a class of his own, and I can see why and how you would feel that way. Let me tell you, my first real exposure to David Lynch was Eraserhead, and I watched that thing all the way through, and the whole time I was like, what am I watching? What is this? Even me. And I love symbolism, and I love taking things apart and putting them back together, and visually. But even me, when I first watched Eraserhead, I said, oh dear, what in the world is this? So Richland Law writes, I walked out on Eraserhead in the theater. It was about to make me queasy. Yeah, that quote unquote baby. Oh, it's hard to look at. There's a lot of stuff in there that's hard to look at, but I'm gonna have to revisit it because of Stanley. Because you mean Stanley loved it so much, made everybody on the crew watch it. So there's something in there. There must be. But I can see how you would feel queasy about the baby, and when she's feeding him the mayonnaise. Oh yeah, that's gross. Um, I have since forced myself to watch it. Okay, uh, that's good. I feel Kubrick liked it because it was so gross and different. Possibly, possibly. He probably had a much better stomach than you and me, and he was definitely able to see. Like I said, I think these two men understood each other very, very well, as far as their visual language. And the grossness, maybe he wasn't like so impressed or fascinated by the grossness, but he saw it for what it really was. He saw the symbolism for what it really was, and he picked up on it. Like I still maintain that all those radiators in The Shining wouldn't be there if it weren't for Eraserhead. I mean that I'm that's one of the things that I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be easy to change my mind about that. Koob had a dark sense of humor, and asking people to sit through disgusting tedium is sort of yeah, I guess so. I mean, maybe. You never know. But you know, that kind of makes me wonder if that's true, Richland Law. That means he didn't like those people very much. Because why would you do that to a friend? I don't know. Um, it was, and I think he's still talking about Eraserhead. It was used as an example of uncanny and weird. Possibly, yes. Yes, and uncanny definitely in the realm of like postmodern thought. Yeah. That's a whole again, that's a whole nother video discussing the uncanny and the way it's used in art and what the origin of what we now consider the uncanny, like where that comes from. That's a whole nother video that I might do one day. Who knows? But yeah, uncanny and weird to inspire the cast on The Shining. So it may mean more. I have no patience for Lynch. You know what? Again, I like him, but I see where you're coming from. It is not easy to even sit through an episode of Twin Peaks. Cause I did the intro and I did like the first episode, I think maybe the second episode, and that's why it's been so hard for me to go back and do like the third episode, because you have to work. You have to watch that thing actively. You can't it's not the kind of thing that you can just sit back and enjoy like a sitcom. Oh good heavens no. And it's not um I guess the TV or the film equivalent of easy listening, or, I don't know, but I can see where you're coming from. Uh, it's work. It's work to watch David Lynch. And I think that's what he's, there are people who, scenesters, people like that, who say that they're into Lynch because, Lynch is hip and cool and happening, but they don't really know what the hell's going on. And then there's people who really are trying to figure it out. And sometimes those two groups find a common ground, but I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to think about with regard to your comment, Richland Law. And you're right, it's hard to have patience for a filmmaker like Lynch because he seems to have no patience for us. He has no patience for the viewer. He's like, look, this is what I'm doing. And I think there was even an interview that I watched, or like a snippet of something where somebody asks him to explain something that he's doing. And he's like, the movie is the explanation. That's his response, and it's like, okay, so you okay, all right. At least Stanley tried to explain the end of The Shining. He said it's a evil kind of reincarnation. Lynch, you're not really going to get that from Lynch, now are you? And Richland Law goes on. He says, I have no interest in Lynch's symbols either. For me, I find them kicked in the head compared with other artists I like. Okay, that's a fair point, Kind of like, here is a symbol. Too on the nose for me. However, I love coffee and pie. Yes. Don't we all? Don't we all? Um, Again, I can see where you're coming from, Richland Law. And I'm not like a big movie watcher. I know you might be surprised to hear that. I'm not a big movie watcher, so I'm very, 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 very selective about where I'm gonna invest my time. And the reason, and for years and years, I felt very similar to you. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to bother with David Lynch. Everybody seems to, again, those hipsters, scenesters, people like that seem to be into him, and that was my cue to not be into him. When a bunch of vapid people are into something, that tells me to like run, not walk away from it. But because of my research, and it led my Stanley research, Kubrickology, led me to Lynch. I couldn't ignore him anymore. And I'm glad that I didn't ignore him. It's not easy for the reasons that you mentioned in number 2 of this comment, but I can't I can't ignore it anymore. I've got to keep going. Um Kind of like here is a symbol, which is what I'm going to explore, Richland Law. So I really do hope you'll stay tuned when I do finally get into like comparisons between The Shining and Eraserhead, and then between The Shining, or between Eraserhead and The Shining, and then between The Shining and Twin Peaks, because these two filmmakers are bouncing ideas off of each other in film form, in a filmic kind of conversation. That's what I believe. And yes, I love coffee and I love pie, and I'm going to start baking some pies. I wish I could send you all pies. I really do. Or my marble cake. My marble, I don't know. Y'all like marble cake? I might drop the recipe. Who knows? But number 3, 42. Of course, it is the answer to everything per Douglas Adams. You know what? I need to take a better look at Douglas Adams, because I did watch the movie The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with Sam Rockwell, because I love Sam Rockwell. I'm crazy nuts about Sam Rockwell. I had a huge crush on him back in the day, but you know, I need to take a better look at that. Um, Something's going on. What Douglas Adams, the number 42, is the answer to everything. Is it, if it's related to what I've been talking about lately, like the summer of 42, Manhattan Project, A-Bomb, Oppenheimer, etc., etc. Oh boy. Oh my. Oh my. I have work to do. But anyway, thank you for those comments, Richland Law. I appreciate them so, so very, very much. Here's another one from Richland Law. I just watched Clockwork for the first time in a long time. I urge you, dear reader, to watch each and every Kubrick film ASAP. You won't regret it. And he puts how many? My glasses are failing me again. Oh yes, 4 exclamation points. So it must be very important. I'm gonna try again. My next one is I just watched Lolita recently, as you can see in the sidebar, one of my Lolita videos. I think the next one is going to be Dr. Strangelove. Just like you're talking about Lynch down here, Richland Law, and how like it's difficult to go through Lynch. I'm scared of Clockwork. Because I have a feeling, I have a sneaking suspicion that Stanley is exploring like the very worst that humanity has to offer in A Clockwork Orange. Oh, pray for me. I don't know what I'm going to see when I finally watch that movie. But the next one is probably going to be Strangelove, because I want to compare notes with Tankard, and then probably Clockwork. Oh my God. I really don't want to watch Barry Lyndon, but I know I have to, because we're trying to save the world. We're trying to help Stanley save the world from beyond the grave. I think that's what we need to do. We need to. It's absolutely imperative. And then need to know 4671 replies in any particular order. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for Richland Law. I mean, I don't know if it matters. You just start wherever with Stanley. You just start wherever, and then just, work your way through. Kind of like if you're learning history, Like, it doesn't really matter what point in history you start learning it from. You could start learning history from and just pick a year and then work your way around, and one thing will lead to another. And as you're learning, as you're going through the stuff, you're going to be forced to look stuff up from way before when you got started and way after where you got started, learning about history or any given thing, literature, art, science, whatever. I mean, that's my take on it, but Richland Law might, you're asking him need to know. So I don't know what Richland Law has to say, but again, thank you both for your comments. Mr. Oh dear God. Oh, I forgot about this one. Mr. Me, I'm sure I'm not the only one who wants to see your face. Will you show us? No. No. Moving on. Dr. Luke, hello, Dr. Luke. He has a link for me, and I know I clicked on it, but I don't remember now what it is. I'll have to click on it again. Thank you for the link, Dr. Luke. And Guillermo, hello, Guillermo. Then he says, the similarity between the poses of Lolita and Danny is very interesting. Isn't it, though? Isn't it? I still don't know what it's all about, but I'm going to keep trying. So thank you, Guillermo Ibanez Gomez 3031. Thank you so much, Guillermo, and I hope you're enjoying your cafecito. Uh, so that's that for this video, and I'm going to move on to my more recent video about, Stanley possibly talking about the Manhattan Project and the creation of nuclear weapons. Coffee Break is The Shining really about ... the caretaker. Okay, and here's Richard's video again in the sidebar. Go watch it. Watch it twice. Watch it 3 times. And once again, just like I'm doing for Richard, and I did a shout out for Gershom for his online store where he has all the merchandise. If you have something that you want me to shout out, let me know. For now, I'm doing it for free. Okay, because y'all are my friends, my internet friends. If you have like a business or a store or whatever that you do, tell me, and I'll include it in the next video. And again, thanks to Gershom, I've been listening to this song, Desiree by the Melvins, which is a cover of the song from the beginning of The Shining when he's driving up the mountain to the interview. If you haven't listened to this, please do. It's amazing. I think Buzz Osborne, the face, the hair of of the Melvins, he is a genius. And if you listen to it, you will see what I mean. It's like he's combining the song from the beginning of The Shining, Desiree, and like the theme from The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. It's really good. You gotta take an escucha. Okay. I think I got that right. Is it escucha or escuchar? I don't know. But I'm gonna try and learn Spanish. I promise you. I'm gonna try and take like a short term, 8-week course and try Spanish 1. Um, Pray for me. Because I'm not so good at learning languages, but I really want to learn Spanish. So anyway, let me start from the bottom. Again, I've organized these newest first. So, Guillermo. Okay, cool. Coffee, the curious face, and the thumbs up. Thank you so much, Guillermo. Tankard, great video. Are you saving torrents for another video? This is an inside thing between me and Tankard. We bounce ideas off of each other in the Twitter DMs pretty regularly, and I was snooping around the map of the city of Chicago, and I found something in there that has to do with torrents. And I think I will save it for another video. And the reason why I didn't put it in this video, about the caretaker, is because I don't know whether or not I'm right, and I don't want to lead you all down the wrong path, even though I might be leading you down the wrong path anyway, because I might be completely wrong about all of this, every single last bit of it. But this torrents thing, I will include it, even if I'm not sure that I'm right about it, in another video, because It wasn't pertinent to what I was discussing in this video, but yeah, I've still got it in mind, Richard. So yeah, don't worry. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about Calumet City. Yeah. Um, Interesting. There's some interesting stuff going on, but I don't know whether or not it's related to the Manhattan Project thing, but I'll mention it anyway in another video. So stay tuned for that. Tankard also writes, Holy cow, I forgot about that stupid baking powder. I didn't. It's always in the back of my head. Like, so many people have commented about that and written about that, and like, the Calumet, it's about the genocide of the Native Americans. And I'm like, maybe. I'm not going to completely count that out, no. But knowing Stanley, and here's this gorgeous face over here. And, if you're into men, like, look up pictures of Stanley when he was younger. He was hot. Okay? He was a cutie pie. But, he had those big crazy looking eyes. I love that. I love eyes like that. But oh yeah, the Calumet powder. He said that stupid baking powder. No, it's not stupid because it's telling us where Chicago Pile 1 is. All right? It's there. It's there, and it's like you just follow the river and you will get to where Chicago Pile 1 is. Okay? I mean, is that a coincidence? I don't know. I've told you all before, and I'm telling you again, I question my own sanity every step of the way. It's not like I'm doing this with some kind of bravado or confidence or whatever. No, I know I could, number one, I know I could be totally wrong about every single last thing I say. And number two, I know there's a good chance I might just be crazy. Slap up the wall, batshit crazy. But is that going to stop me? No, it never has before. Why should it stop me now? So yeah, the baking powder tankard. It is kind of stupid, but it's there. And so many people have commented on it. And I'm like, you know what? Let me get to the bottom of this baking powder thing once and for all. I don't know if I did, and you say that's a huge find. I think so. Chicago Pile 1, like, I didn't even know that thing existed before I started researching the Manhattan Project. I didn't know that. I thought the Manhattan Project, I mean, I didn't really know much about it. I thought it just happened in Manhattan, okay, New York City, and that was that. Um, I didn't know that all these different cities all over the United States were involved. I didn't know that all of these different scientists from all these different universities were involved. No, I didn't know that Chicago even had anything to do with the Manhattan Project, the University of Chicago, and Chicago Pile 1, and the Calumet River. No clue. And again, I'm going to find his name, that guy in the Room 237 documentary. And like, because if you want to watch it on YouTube, and they have it, like you saw the link to it. Where the hell is it? Was it here? Hold on. No, no, no. It was somewhere around here when I was talking here. Oh, golly. There it is. Room 237, YouTube movies and TV. It says try now. I think not, because they charge you. They don't do nothing for free on YouTube. But, they let us upload our videos for free, and all those hours and hours and hours of people watching my video, I haven't seen a red cent from that. All right. But, you can't watch Room 237 for free, even though they show commercials. They do during the whole thing. Whatever. Let me not be bitter. Um, but yeah, I don't know if it might be a huge find. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I really don't. Another comment from Tankard: the hex patterns do make sense. I think they do. I can see it. I can see it too, Tankard. I think you are 100% correct that Stanley Kubrick hates the people that made the atomic bomb. I mean, yeah. What other conclusion can we come to? This was the atomic age that he was working in. He started making videos like after the Second World War, shortly after. And, me and Richard, again, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm not going to blab, but we do some pretty deep research regarding Stanley and his movies and whatever. Again, Stanley was not an ordinary guy. He was not an ordinary filmmaker. There's no way that I think, and I think Richard Tankard of Tales agrees with me. There's no way that he didn't put hidden messages, or what I like to call Allah or per Erwin Panofsky, disguise symbolism. And I've done a couple of videos on disguise symbol. I've mentioned it. Go ahead and check it out. It's disguise symbolism is, what does that mean? It means you can see the symbolism. You can pick out the object, item, thing, and you know it's a symbol, especially if you're looking at something like Renaissance art, which is what Panofsky specialized in. But you can see the symbol, but it's not, it's disguised, even though you can see it, because you don't know what it really means. Because it might have more than one meaning. It might have layers of meaning. That's what disguised symbolism is. And I think that's what Stanley was doing, Tankard, and everybody who's listening. And Tankard gets that feeling. He says, I got that feeling watching Dr. Strangelove, that he hates the people who made the atomic bomb. How could you like them? I mean, I'm sure that there were people there, maybe forced to lend their research to this monstrous demonic project. And they didn't do that voluntarily. It was like done to them against their will. If you were a scientist, chemist, physicist, engineer, whatever, like you had no choice but to do what they told you to do. But I'm not talking about those people. Those people, if they were forced and they didn't have any say in the matter or any choice and they couldn't back out for whatever reason, okay. No, I'm talking about the people who knew what the fuck they were doing and did it anyway. Those are the people that Stanley hates, and I don't like them either. Okay? So there's that. Thank you for your comments, Tankard. I always love them. I always appreciate them. Tankard, here he is again. He says, and I do think Dr. Strangelove is a reference to strange romance between the U.S. and Nazi Germany. Project Paperclip does come to mind, but I'm thinking earlier stuff. I'll PM more later. Yeah, we've been talking about this. We have been talking about this. There's a lot to talk about, let me tell you. I've been doing a little bit of research. I dropped some information on Richard the other day about Oppenheimer that I don't know whether or not I'll share in a video. Oh, there's so much. There's so much, but we'll see if I share it in the future. Richland Law replies to Tankard and says, I never thought of it that way, Tank, but I have always been fascinated by the name Strangelove. Yeah, that's a really, really interesting name, Richland Law. And Tankard is replying to Richland Law. I think after a second viewing, I'll get more stuff about Dr. Strangelove. I need to PM you some stuff, Richard. There's Stanley. I'll give you a hint. What I'm talking about regarding the Manhattan Project and all of the chemistry and stuff that went into it, there's symbolism about that in Strangelove too. I'll show you the pictures. Twitter DM. Look for it. If not tonight, then tomorrow. Okay, Gershom. Hello, Gershom. Diamonds and coffee. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Gershom. Here's the Richland Law again. Oh boy. Okay, let me get into this. It has always been a fascination of great beings to live forever through one's art. In the face of mortality, the mind does sort of wonder, what kind of mark will I leave or can I leave in this ocean of existence? In particular, due to mass manufacturing in the 20th century, it became possible for artists to insert messages into works of art that would nearly instantly be mass manufactured and thus would be in the hands of many, many people, therefore not subject to censorship. Interesting. Okay, let me keep going. Some artists got the idea then to insert ideas more subtly so as to get those ideas around censorship that may exist in the entrenched media and entrenched business interests. Interesting. And that might be the point of disguised symbolism. Who knows? Examples sort of like rock and roll and the Beatles, inserting messages that one could find on their albums, and at that point it was too late for those ideas to be censored. The same revolution that happened with music happened with video during Kubrick's tenure. At some point, it occurred to the master that he could insert very deep and controversial ideas into his movies, and they would be protected basically forever by the way video gets disseminated as a mass manufactured good. Now, put yourself in Kubrick's shoes. Extremely high IQ, loving compassion, technical artistry, and mastery. It would seem the whole game would be to create a field of ideas that could help humankind, and in particular, to focus on the most controversial and interesting ideas that can't really be presented elsewhere. I'm loving this, Richland Law. I really am. I see where you're going with this. Um, and I think you're right. I really do. There's no, like, I think talked about it a minute ago. I don't think there's I don't think there should be any debate any longer as to whether or not Kubrick did this. He, like you said, he has the skills, he has the intelligence. He seems like a very caring, loving, compassionate person. He wants to help people, and his way of doing it is through his media, through his the vehicle of David Lynch called it cinema. There's so many things you can do with cinema. Um, and here's the second paragraph. As far as the method for utilizing these films, I propose, oh my goodness, I propose that the great Miss M is actually utilizing the technique of Hermann Hesse's glass bead game. The glass bead game is a formless rule set in which the important thing is connecting one idea to the next with intention and creativity. I'm going to have to look this up. Interesting, very interesting. This is the exercise that enhances intelligence as it completely utilizes the structural aspect of the brain interconnecting ideas just like neurons. Well, I have read Siddhartha. Okay, that book had an interesting effect on me. I have, since you mentioned Hermann Hesse. Yeah. I have to look up this glass bead thing too. I have never heard of it, but I have heard of Hermann Hesse. Yes. Thanks, Miss M, for giving us all something to think about. I can't talk. Thank you, Miss M, for giving us all something to think about, and by giving us the space through your videos to meander. Thus, the meander pattern is revealed as a depiction. Oh, wow. A depiction of Kubrickian intelligence. Shine on, you crazy diamonds. Oh, yes, absolutely. I think that, he's, thank you so much, Rich Linlaw. I think that Kubrick was trying to teach us something and trying to show us possibly hidden knowledge. I really do. But he was the most important thing that maybe Kubrick was trying to show all of us who watch his movies is that I think it was in the blog, I think Johnny 52, if I'm not mistaken. And he's on Twitter. I think I found him on Twitter. But he doesn't seem like the kind of person who likes to communicate very much, so I don't want to bother him. I think he wrote in his blog before he put it behind a paywall, because I am convinced that people have been stealing that man's ideas. Okay, and Anno, you sent me the link to his stuff too. Thank you so much for that, because I was like, I remember saying in my videos, I know I read this at this person's blog, but I can't remember where, or I can't find it anymore. Thank you, Anno. But Johnny 52, and I think he's a musician too. You can find him on Twitter. I don't want to tell you because I don't know if he wants people bothering him, but he put on his blog where he discusses the chairs at the bar in the gold room and the whole thing. He put all that behind a paywall. I'm convinced people have been pilfering his ideas, and I have got one individual in mind who I think has been doing it. Hey, Johnny, if you're listening, my DMs are open. Okay. But, and he said, this is why I'm saying it, because I don't want to say that I came up with this. No, I didn't. Johnny 52 came up with it. that the most important thing that Kubrick is teaching his audience is how to shine. If the shining is, it's not necessarily a psychic ability, it's an intellectual ability that we all have. We all have brains, and for most of us, they work perfectly fine. Okay? And this world is created to dull your senses and to dull your cognitive apparatus, your cognitive capabilities. And you're kind of trained to ignore things or to be oblivious to them. And I think that's one of the things he's teaching. He's teaching us how to shine. If the shining is a kind of ability, it's maybe not something that you only have if you're like a psychic or whatever. No, shining is, I think, I was inspired by Johnny 52's comment on his blog, again, before he put it, a lot of his stuff, what seems to be behind a paywall or behind a Patreon. He said, Stanley is showing us how to shine. And that's where I kind of said, oh, Stanley is showing us that thinking is the sixth sense. There's sight, there's hearing, there's taste, there's smell, there's touch. Those are the 5 that they teach you in school. But all 5 of those feed into the 6th one. You can't think without, well, you can, but the thinking comes from the information that you gather with your other senses. The sense of touch, the sense of seeing, sight, whatever. And thinking becomes the 6th sense. And if we all worked on it, like if we all knew how to work on it, if we all knew how to look at art in a completely different way than we've been taught, we could uncover great truths about the universe, about life itself. If only our teachers and our educational institutions were worth a damn. Okay, I truly and deeply believe in that. And thank you for this comment, Richland Law. I don't think I'm great. I'm just trying to find my way through. I really am. I really am. And I'm enjoying it. I like thinking, obviously. I like thinking. I like analyzing. I have what I do for a living, and it does like give me my fix as far as thinking and analyzing. I think only a couple people know like what I do. My internet friends, only a couple of you know what I do. Richland Law, if you can get me a recommendation somewhere, and I think I've looked at your page, Richland Law. I know you're in my area, so if you could get me a recommendation for like a better job or something, that would be great, because I am being overworked and underpaid, let me tell you. But thank you so much for this comment. It does help. It does give me a little bit of morale boost, definitely. We got a comment from Robin Marks 1313. Thank you. Oh, I love your avatar or your profile pic. Oh, Pinky and the Brain. Love them back in the day. Anyway, he says the caretaker is a white British man. White Man's Burden is a poem. Oh, by Rudyard Kipling. I need to read it now. I've heard of Kipling, but I've never heard of this poem, in which explains manifest destiny and the burden of the white man to preach the gospel and tame the savages. Interesting. It's blatantly about empire and racism, rule Britannia. The burden was first Grady's responsibility, a very British man, who then passes the burden on to Jack, an American. The burden of empire has been passed from the British onto the child America. It's a manifested destiny. Well, this is interesting. And what's really interesting, and I appreciate this comment, Robin Marks 1313, is that both Grady, the one we see in the movie anyway, in the gold room and the bathroom, both Grady and Jack are basically playing servile roles. Grady, he's allegedly the caretaker, the one that killed those two little girls and his wife. But when we see him, he's a waiter. He's serving drinks at a party in the Gold Room. And then we see him with Jack in the bathroom. And Jack is, the caretaker. They're pretty low down on the totem pole. And the people that they're surrounded by at that party are, what Ullman has told us, are the best people. And they're the servants to those people. Interesting. Oh, you've given me something to think about, Robin Marks 1313. Thank you, thank you. Here we go with Gershom again. Hello, Gershom. Who's Tony? I have long believed Tony is capital T, capital O, capital N, capital Y, 2 NY, NY, Manhattan. Ooh. And the Richland Moth has the same comment. Ooh. Yeah, that's interesting. 2 NY, 2 New York. New York, New York. Manhattan. Manhattan is a part of New York City as far as I know. And I was telling you, Gershom, that Manhattan, in like the native language of the actual Native Americans who lived there before it became civilized, the word Manhattan means the place where we gather sticks to make bows, as in bow and arrow, bows. So that's more weaponry. I don't know. And then Gershom goes on, he says, and the Indian burial ground is the one where the story begins in the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is opened by setting the stage of the Kurukshetra battlefield. Oh my goodness. So this is interesting. I mean, in the context of the Bhagavad Gita, the Indian burial ground, it really is Indian. It's in India. But when they say Indian burial ground in the United States, they mean like a ancient Native American site. But I see what you're doing here, and I love it. Oh, wow. That's something to think about. And like, why Oppenheimer, why does he mention the Bhagavad Gita? An Indian burial ground. A lot of the development, a lot of the stuff that was going on with the Manhattan Project happened in lands, in territories that to this day have a very significant Native American presence. So, like, yeah, what in the world is going on? And The Shining, too, with all the Native American designs all throughout the Overlook Hotel, even on Wendy's clothes, with that yellow jacket that she's wearing with like the teepee or whatever on the sleeve. Ooh, we gotta explore this. My. Thank you, Gershom, and thank you, Richland. Well, you had the same comment as I said. Ooh, yeah, Manhattan to New York, New York. Interesting. Okay, yes, Dave Gentry. Okay, hi, Dave. Pretty incredible analysis, Miss M. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I have heard and thought upon many of the Shining theories. I'm starting to think they all might be right. Maybe it is a ghost story. Maybe it is about a person going crazy or goofy with Wendy's daydreams. Maybe it is also about the faked moonshot. Maybe, I have something to say about this moon thing. Gonna save it for another video. I've been doing my research. I'll leave it at that. Stay tuned. But maybe it is also about the fake moonshot. Maybe it is also about the nukes and the men who developed them. So many things. Stanley only had a couple of hours to cram in what he was really trying to say, and it seems he had a lot to say. Sometimes things don't have to be either or. Sometimes they're both, or all of the above. Possibly. I agree with that. I'm reminded of the parable of the blind men and the elephant, if you're not familiar. That has to do with the limitation of our perception. Fascinating video, Miss Sam. Thanks for making it. Something for me to think about while I'm tooling around the house this morning. Ciao. Thank you, Dave Gentry. And I'm going to have to look up the parable of the blind men and the elephant. I can kind of maybe guess what it's about, but I'm definitely going to look it up. Thank you. Hello again, Anno Domini. Very interesting stuff here. Thank you. I try. I try to make it interesting. I know that I'm not always successful, but I really do try. So thank you for your comment, Anno. Stephen, 1853. Haven't seen you in a while. Okay, hello again. The Overlook is definitely a specialty resort. It's implied in the book. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. When Ullman mentions our people in Denver, they remain nameless for a good reason, i.e., Volts. Why didn't you tell me you were working for Corleone? Oh, Hagen. I don't use his name unless it's absolutely necessary. The Godfather. Oh my goodness. This is. Wow. 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 Stephen. Wow. I mean, wow. Ay, ay, ay. I'm kind of speechless. But not for long. You know me. Ay, ay, ay. Why didn't you tell me you were working for Corleone? I don't use his name unless it's absolutely necessary. Ah, that's interesting. And that's something that I want to look into. Now that I'm on this Manhattan Project tech, I am kind of wondering, you know, who were all of those people really working for? Oppenheimer, Leslie Groves, all of them. The presidents, Roosevelt and Truman. Who were they really working for? I must at least try to piece it together. You know I will. I'll let you know if I find something or if what where the evidence takes me, so to speak, but we shall see. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, thank you. New York Yankees 81 writes, what about World Trade Center in New York City, Twin Towers? Because he's talking about what I said, the twins, the Grady twins in the movie, that they're representing the two places that got bombed by the atomic bomb, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And he's like, well, what about the Twin Towers in New York? And I replied, that's a whole nother story. It is. It's a whole nother story. Is it connected to any of this? I don't know. I don't know. Again, I'm gonna let you know again. I've read and watched just about every conspiracy theory you can imagine. All right. I know I haven't covered them all, or I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen a lot. I've read a lot. Do I agree with all of it? No. And I've even cooked up a few of my own. Gershom knows. I don't know if I told Richard. Maybe I should. But, the Twin Towers, that's another story for another time. I don't know if I'll ever tell y'all, in one of my videos what I really think is going on with the Twin Towers or what happened, because I don't know if you're ready. I don't think you're ready. Most of you, you're not ready. You're not ready. I'm so sorry. It's not that I don't have faith in you. In my heart, in my gut, I know I'm right about my own personal little conspiracy theory that I've been working on for years. But I know it's not ready for public consumption. I just know it. So there's that. But thank you for your comment, New York Yankees 81. I appreciate it. Boxy. Hello, Boxy. Boxy's 1375 writes, so glad that the Shining related videos are being published here again. Me too, Boxy. Me too. Thanks, Miss M. I am going to watch them now. Thank you. P.S. I know that we will discuss this when we reach that particular part of the movie, but I still want to mention this. During rewatching The Shining about a month ago, I noticed that after Jack kills Halloran, the axe is logically bloody. However, as Jack runs after Danny, and especially at the end of the maze, scene, there is no blood there on the axe. Uh-oh. Gonna have to keep an eye out for that. Should blood leave the axe that fast? Or Stanley wanted to tell us that actually Jack never killed Halloran with the axe? Just wondering. Well, damn. That's a lot to think about. That's a lot to think about. Hmm. Yeah, I will get to it when I get to that part of the movie, but you're making me think now, which is a good thing. First of all, we don't even know where Jack gets that axe. We don't know where he finds it in the hotel. We see it next to the dead Grady twins, but it's all bloody, and it's implied that it was used to kill them. Okay. Um, but I remember one time I was bored one night, and I actually went through the movie looking for the axe, other than the hallway with the Grady twins, and I said, "Where is it? Where's the axe? Where is it? Is it in the garage with the snowcat?" I'm gonna have to look again, because I think I got tired and I gave up, but I'm gonna have to look for that axe again. Where does he get it? Was he chopping wood with it? Was it outside on the chopping block, like stuck into it? I don't know. I'll have to look again. But that's my question about the axe. Where'd he get it from? And your question is a very good one too. He chops Halloran with it, and there should be blood on the blade, at least some traces of it. And if it's completely clean when he's chasing Danny, and not only is it completely clean, are his hands clean? Because he got Halloran pretty good with that axe. Like, there should have been some blood splatter. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but why are his hands clean? He has no blood on him. There's no blood on the axe. Very good eye, Boxy. I appreciate it, and I will keep it in mind. Thank you. And there's got to be a lot more Shining content in the future. I can pretty much promise you that. So here's New York Yankees 81 again. Joe Girard has a video about The Shining. It is titled Decoding The Shining, Danny's Lesson and Escapes, Part 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. Thank you for letting me know about it. I will be sure to take a look. And here is the last comment, the most recent one, about 7 hours ago, that prompted me to do this viewer mail video. From Andro Midwa. Thank you, Andro Midwa. Andro Midwa writes, when Danny plays on the chemistry carpet, a proton ball mysteriously emanates from Neptunium 237, creating plutonium 238. I think you've absolutely nailed it. Well done. And when I read this comment, like I told you guys in these videos, I am not a math person. I am not a science person. No. Just no. And when I read through those Wikipedia pages about uranium, about plutonium, about neptunium, I was like, it felt like I was like trying to find my way through a place in the dark. But I did it. I kept going. I did it all for you all. I did it for you. Because I know I'm on the right track, and I had to struggle through those those explanations of like protons, electrons, beta decay, shit like that. And I said, I have to do this. I have to at least try because this is important. Stanley wants us to know about this. And I'll read it again. When Danny plays on the carpet, the hexagonal carpet that I believe symbolizes organic chemistry, which I'll be making a video about in the future too. I've been saving up articles to show you. So yeah, when Danny plays on the carpet, the chemistry carpet, the hexagonal carpet in the hallway in front of room 237, a ball mysteriously emanates from 237. So a proton mysteriously emanates from Neptunium, the room 237, creating plutonium 238. Yep. And the thing is, Andromeda explained this way better than I ever could. That's why I was so like overjoyed at this comment. I said, "Oh, he said," or I don't know if it's a he or she. I'm sorry, Andromeda, but you said what I could never. You put it so concisely. You condensed it so beautifully. I could never do this, and that's why I wanted to feature it. And I'm glad it's the last comment, so we can end it on this one. Um, the ball. See, I didn't even think about the ball. And oh my God, Andromeda, I hope you're watching. Um, the ball is yellow. The ball is yellow. Uranium. I mean, tell me whether or not I'm on the right track here, but the ball is yellow. The family car, the Volkswagen Beetle, it's yellow. Wendy's jacket when she's trying to contract the Forestry Service, that's yellow too. So uranium, one of the colors of uranium, it is very well known, is yellow. Like you've heard of yellow cake, uranium. Um, and that tennis ball in the movie, it's yellow. Is that does that proton that you're talking about, um, that emanates from room 237, the neptunium, does that proton originally come from the uranium? Because uranium is yellow. And also, while I've got you on the line, Andromeda, the bathroom with the naked lady in room 237, it's green. It's very, very green. And for years, I thought that Stanley uses the color green because green is the color of money. Well, come to find out, uranium, in some cases it's yellow, but in other cases it's green. And it also, oh, I'm about to kill y'all with this one. Uranium also shines. It glows in the dark. And there, if you can look it up, just like I did, on the Google, you will find something called uranium glass. They're antiques now, but it was glassware, plates, cups, bowls, all kinds of stuff that are made of glass, but the glass was infused with uranium. And what was interesting about these things, what people found fascinating about them, was that they were this beautiful green color, and not only were they green, but they glowed in the dark, also known as shining. So they emit, remember, I keep saying over and over again in these videos of mine, the movie's called The Shining. The allegedly psychic ability that Halloran explains to Danny, he calls the shine. What does it mean to shine? It means to either emit or reflect light. And I kept saying that the only natural things that I could think of that emit light are the sun or a light bulb. Well, again, I'm not a math person or a chemistry. I'm not a science person. I wasn't even thinking about uranium. But uranium does glow. It does emit light. Not all the time, but in some cases, yes, uranium does emit light. And look up uranium glass. I'm going to be researching it too. It emits light. It glows in the dark. That's why people were so fascinated by it. And yes, people did drink out of these cups and bowls and everything. They shouldn't have. It's radioactive. But you can buy it still. They don't make it anymore, but they have antiques. Uranium glass is now an antique collectible thing. Fascinating. So I don't know what color neptunium is. I'm going to have to look it up. Because, again, these items, these materials, in their quote-unquote natural state, they're like ore. So they just look like an earth mineral. But when they're refined, like, they take on different colors. And again, uranium isn't always yellow. Sometimes it's green, and sometimes it's not green at all. Sometimes it's silvery colored. But I cannot ignore the fact that uranium comes in both yellow and green with regard to the shining because of the color of the ball, the color of Wendy's jacket, and the color of the family car, the VW Beetle. And it's coming from room 237. There's a lot of green in that room. The carpet, that phallic patterned carpet, green. Uranium green, as a matter of fact, and you'll see it when you look up, if you do look up, uranium glass, and the inside of the bathroom where the naked lady is completely green, and it has that luminescent quality, like uranium glass. Look it up. You won't be disappointed. So thank you once again, Andromeda. Did I hit something? Is that whole scene with Danny in the hallway with the ball coming from room 237 is Stanley showing us the process that happens when Neptunium is converted into plutonium. And when the ball rolls towards him, Danny automatically assumes that it's coming from his mother. He says, "Mom, are you there?" Oh Lord. We gotta figure this out. What is Wendy? In the whole scheme of all of this, is Wendy an element? Is she... Ugh. I have to look it up. I don't want to guess. I don't know, but he assumes that the yellow ball is his mother, or it's coming from his mother. He says, "Mom, are you there?" And the room happens to be open. And then there's the crazy lady. You know, the uranium and the neptunium decaying into plutonium. She tries to strangle him. Who does Danny represent? Who does Danny represent? And again, I have to think about this so much. Oof, there's a lot going on. We're still not done. Just because, if I'm right about any of this, if I'm right about the carpet pattern, if I'm right about the twins representing Nagasaki and Hiroshima, if I'm right about, what else did I say? The hexagonal pattern on the carpet representing organic chemistry. If I'm right about, what the hell else did I say? The summer of 42 is pointing us in the direction of the Manhattan Project. All the stuff that I talked about in this video and the other video, like what else did I talk about? Chicago Pile 1, the Calumet River, the baking powder, Calumet baking powder behind Halloran's Head is pointing us in the direction of the city of Chicago, and the river, the Calumet River, which leads us, if you go, I'll just go ahead and say downstream, you end up at the corner of the Calumet River and the Des Plaines River, and that's where Chicago Pile 1 was. Wait a minute. If I'm right about any of that, that's great. I hope I'm right. I don't know. I can't know. I can't ask Stanley unless we have a seance or something. But if I'm right about all of those things, that's great, but that still means nothing, because I'm still not done. We are still not done. We have much to discuss. We have much to think about. There's still so much more work to do. So, Andromeda, thank you so much. Richard, thank you so much. Gershom, thank you so much. Boxy, everybody that I mentioned, and Anno Domini, Dave Gentry, Richland Law, all of you, every single last one of you. I know I'm forgetting somebody, but you guys, thank you so much. It means a great deal to me that we're all interacting and trying to figure this out together. Yeah, I'm making these videos and I'm doing them in my own way, but the feedback is important. And again, I feature you guys when I make these viewer mail videos. That's one of the reasons why I do it, because If somebody watches my videos and sees one of my viewer mail videos, you will see that I like to give credit where credit is due. You guys are contributing here. You guys are also thinking and doing. Maybe you're not making videos, but you are thinking and contributing and interacting with me and interacting with each other in the comments. And oof, I'm still not 100% done with this black and white photo of the July 4th, 1921 ball. Again, I got a lot of work to do. And I don't know when the inspiration is going to hit me next. Maybe between then and now, I'll do some art videos, or I'll do another Understanding the Shining video. Maybe I'll get some more information the next time, or information or inspiration when I do the Shining videos. And maybe I'm going to have to make one of those summary videos that Richard Tankard of Tales recommended, because I need to make like maybe a 30-minute video just summarizing all of the stuff that I've been working on up until now, ever since I started doing these videos. So Richard, you're probably right about that. Anyway, once again, all of you, thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Let me redo my church announcements and then I'll let you go. Returning viewers, thank you for returning. New viewers, thank you for being new. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the videos. If you know somebody who might enjoy this kind of thing, I'm going to keep thinking. I'm going to keep turning over and over and over and over again, forever and ever and ever, that grilled cheese sandwich in my head. I'm going to keep brewing up pots of coffee. I'm going to keep coming back, and hopefully you'll be coming back and to hear what I have to say. Hopefully I'll get farther than I am now. I have much work to do. You all have much work to do. We all have work to do and think about stuff. We can do this. Stanley wants us to know something important. It's 43 years after he made this movie. It's high time that we figured it out. What is Stanley trying to tell us? What does he want us to know? How is he trying to save the world? Okay, you guys, that's it for now. So until next time, until I find yet another reason to talk at you, I'm going to go ahead and bid you bye-bye. So, bye-bye, everybody.